We've finally begun to see set photos from Spider-Man Brand New Day, and as someone whose most popular video is ranking Spider-Man suits, here's what I've got to say. This suit looks awesome. It's clearly inspired by the final swingsuit in No Way Home, which had a very comic accurate look and a homemade feel. A lot of us saw that suit and said, this looks great, I hope they keep this for the next movie, and I hope they make it practical because the No Way Home version was CGI. And a lot of us also said, this looks great, but the blue is slightly too bright and shiny and the logo is too small. Well, we won. They did everything we asked for. They've addressed everything here. They've made this a real physical suit. They've kept the very comic accurate homemade Romita look of the final swingsuit, but they've made the blue a bit darker and increased the logo size, and it looks just as awesome as we hoped. While they have made a few changes, I do wonder in universe, is this the same suit from the end of No Way Home? We didn't get a proper look at it in that movie, so it would be easy to pass this off as the same suit, or is this actually a later version, a new suit built off that base design? There are a few new things they've added. Firstly, big over the wrist web shooters. I think this helps to add to the street level homemade low tech feel of the suit. This is probably the least traditional element of the suit, as we don't usually see Peter wear his web shooters on the outside in the comics. The red material actually has a pattern when viewed up close, and the biggest surprise, the suit now has raised webbing. The MCU Spidey suits have always featured flat webs sewn directly onto the material, rather than raised webs like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Raised webs help to make the suit feel more cinematic and adds depth and texture, which can help when CGI is involved. The webs don't look as raised as we've seen with the other Spider-Men, which usually come out quite a bit and have more of an edge. These newer raised webs feel slightly less raised and a slightly flatter surface, and I like this. This allows the suit when viewed from a distance to feel like the comic suit with a very simple and homemade feel, but when viewed up close it can have more texture and depth, so it doesn't just feel like basic spandex. It is most reminiscent of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit with the colours, texture, position of the blue and the belt, but there's also a Tobey feel here, particularly with the logo, and of course inspired by the raised webs of both characters. And I like that it feels like this Peter was inspired by his multiverse brothers who he met and impacted his life, and he's carrying them with him going forwards. They are keeping the MCU mask, which is great. The moving lenses are a staple now, and the eye shape is very classic Romita, and I like the less busy web pattern we get on Holland suits. So while feeling new, it doesn't feel completely different than his suits that came before. Now normally I don't talk about behind the scenes suits because they almost always look better in the finished movie, but the MCU Spider-Man suits are actually an exception to that rule because they can often ruin the great practical suits by painting over them with CGI. I really hope they don't do that here because this practical suit looks great. It's a perfect blend of cinematic and homemade with an almost cosplay-like feel, and I've always liked that feeling for Spider-Man. These set photos feel like Daily Bugle photos, how it would feel to see Spider-Man in real life. So Marvel, Sony, please don't paint over this suit with CGI. Let it have imperfections because that's what makes it feel real. Overall, a great suit that perfects the final swingsuit. This feels so Spider-Man and honestly might rival the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume for the best Spidey suit, but we won't know that until we see it in the movie. What are your thoughts on this new Spider-Man suit?